Hey, podcast family. This is Kelly Raspberry Evans, and thank you so much for being faithful to the podcast. I do with my husband, Alan, but I do have a little surprise for you today. Now, if you've been listening to our most recent podcast, you've heard me ask for your recommendations on true crime podcasts because I've really gotten into those lately. Well, somebody told me that I should check out the Gimlet media shows. Homecoming, that's the podcast that inspired the Amazon Prime series with Julia Roberts. Love that. They also have Science Versus. Now, this one takes on fads and trends, the opinionated mob to find out what is fact, what is not, and what lies somewhere in between, and the habitat. Now, this one's a crazy idea. It's 6 volunteers living on a fake planet, acting like astronauts for a whole year, and they document the whole thing. So that part's real. The other stuff's fake. You got to listen to it to see for yourself. But Gimlet Media Podcasts, thank you for that recommendation. And today, A Sandwich and Some Lovin' wants to introduce you to a new podcast from Gimlet Media. We think you're going to love it. It's called Motherhood Sessions. On Motherhood Sessions, psychiatrist Dr. Alexandra Sachs works with women struggling with the massive life and identity shifts that go along with motherhood. I have an extended trailer for you to check out, and you're going to hear from Julia, who's a Korean-American woman who's dealing with some serious identity issues. She was raised by a white family and didn't have much connection to her Asian culture until she had her first biological child. Imagine that. So keep listening to hear a special trailer of Motherhood Sessions. It's going to play right after I let you know this. Motherhood Sessions does cover some sensitive topics. It does include some profanity, but we do a little light cussing here on A Sandwich and Some Lovin', so there's that. But we do hope that the honest, compelling conversation resonates with you. And if you love what you hear, you can listen to Motherhood Sessions on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. So enjoy.
This is Motherhood Sessions. I'm Dr. Alexandra Sachs. I'm a reproductive psychiatrist who works with pregnant women and new mothers. In our work, we talk about the most confusing and difficult issues that come up when you're a new mom, how motherhood can make you look at yourself in totally new ways. Each episode of this show is like a therapy session I'd have in my office, except these brave women are having these conversations out in the open. Today, I'm talking with a woman we're calling Julia.
I'm kind of what people call the model adoptee. I was a very good kid. I never did anything to make my parents mad. I always wanted their acceptance and approval. And, I never did anything really rebellious. I've lived my whole life like that up until until I became a mom.
Julia was adopted as a baby from South Korea and grew up in a small town on the East Coast with very few people of color. It wasn't until Julia became a mother that she began to reckon with her own childhood. This came in the form of asking questions about how she was raised and where she was from. Her parents were loving, but they didn't acknowledge how she looked different and was different from them. They were white and she was not. Julia knows that her parents loved all of their kids just the same, and they were just trying to make her feel like she fit in. But she also took in the message that she needed to be like them to be accepted by them.
Because of how I was raised, I didn't see myself as Asian. I saw myself as a white person. Mm-hmm. Growing up, whenever I saw other Asian people, that would be like, oh, I'm Asian. Whether it was getting Chinese food at the local Chinese restaurant, because that was the only place that you saw Asian people, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Did you forget otherwise that you were Asian?
Yeah. I think I just didn't want to be Asian.
When you say you didn't want to be Asian, do you know why?
I think it's because I was raised I was raised with the belief that being white is better. Okay. Does that make sense?
Well, it sounds like another way of putting it is that in recognizing that you were Asian, you saw yourself as lesser than, because that was your parents' implied connotation.
Right. It's so complicated.
How does it feel to hear me say that in such a straight line?
I think it's true.
What made you want to look into finding out more about your biologic parents?
Oh, okay. Becoming a mom changed a lot of things for me. Just having kids, my own biological children, really made me see the importance of knowing my history and where I come from. You know, because my kids are the first biological relatives that I've ever seen. And so that was so cool. And even still, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, I look at them, I'm like, oh my gosh, you came for me.
So it gave you a good feeling being biologically connected to them, and you wanted to have that same feeling maybe that you could get from meeting other relatives?
Just made me realize how difficult a decision it must have been for my birth mother to relinquish me. And yeah, I guess you're right. I did kind of want to know who else is out there like me.
There are so many layers in therapy. Despite their limitations, Julia loves her parents, so she's afraid of hurting their feelings by telling them how unseen she felt as a child and how she still feels. On this episode of Motherhood Sessions, Julia and I talk about how to have this conversation and how to prepare for the reaction that scares her the most.
Will they reject me?
Because you've had a lot of love received because you've reinforced. You've mirrored them, actually.
Yeah, I've done everything that I'm supposed to do.
So the question is, if you're a little rebellious by simply telling the truth,
right,
which is that being adopted has in fact impacted your identity and your emotional development. If you tell them that simple truth, will it be so disruptive to their worldview and cause them to feel pain and make them want to go away and not love you anymore?
I don't want to lose their love by telling them that I'm searching for my birth family.
You can hear more of this conversation and find out what happened when Julia talked with her mom on Motherhood Sessions. You can find Motherhood Sessions for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. That's Motherhood Sessions from Gimlet Media, available everywhere now.